what's up, brother? I want to give you a response here. So I did respond. I very much meant what I said here, but I figure I'll actually answer your question now that I've kind of given you the runaround. So first things first, when you go to respond, never respond without having the clarity as to why are you asking the question that you're asking. So how do you manage your leads? How do you overcome your objections? How do you manage your time? If they came out one at a time, or if they came out all three at the same time, it doesn't matter. My response, first thing is, I'm asking for clarity. Mr. Smith, really appreciate the depth of questions that you're asking, but just before I answer them, can you please explain to me what kind of an answer are you looking for? Is there a specific type of response that you're looking for? I know that through or without context, there's a potential I answer in a way that wouldn't give you the information you need. Is there anything specifically you need from my answers? See if they have any clarity for you. Obviously, word that to your own personality, but get clarity before you answer. Now, I probably, in as simple of questions as you've asked here, I have enough context to pretty well guess what they're asking. How do you manage your leads? Like a motherfucker. I manage them so hard. Now, I'm not gonna respond obviously in that way, but that's what they're looking for. So I want to show some degree of empathy as to why they're asking that question. If they're asking, how do I manage leads? It's because leads cost money. It's because they want to know that you appreciate the leads and that you're not going to waste not a single one of those leads. So how do you manage your leads? I'm going to tell them, while I know how expensive leads are and I know how hard they can be to come by, I know how precious it is when I have a hot, qualified lead ready with interest to have a conversation with me. So I'm going to manage them as if they're precious stones, the most important thing that I can possibly use inside of my career as a sales professional. And then have a plan, by the way, to describe those leads and what that management system looks like. So a good system I've used is I want my hottest, lowest hanging fruit right at the top of my CRM. I'm going to do my best to sort and sift those leads and get them right at the front of my purview, because revenue producing activities is the most important use of my time. I want to create revenue. That's my job. Then categorically, I'll sift from there by age and quality or warmth. So my hottest, most recent leads, I work those every single day, followed immediately by my warm conversations, my follow-ups that have been scheduled, the appointments that have been set. Everything after that is going to be based on, are they hot, warm, cold, right? Just making sure that they know you understand how to manage those leads is super important. Next, how do you overcome objections? Same thing. You need to have the clarity. Tell me about your system. There's lots of different sales systems. The system I use is I try not to have objections. But if I do have objections, it's because I didn't do something early in the call. The way that I like to form my sales conversations is to ask the questions necessary to get to the objections before they come up, so that we can discuss them. And when we get to the presentation portion of our conversation, I should have as few objections as possible. Now, again, the way I want to approach my sales conversation to handle objections is to create the highest level of trust, rapport, and control during the conversation. So when we get to the end, I actually have enough trust to be able to handle those objections. If I have enough trust, it's going to make my job a lot easier. So should there be an objection, then I can open that up clearly and concisely. My first thing I want to do is reward someone for sharing their objection, but I want to get myself on the same side of the table. So what I'll do is actually demonstrate, if I'm in person or if I'm in a Zoom call, I will literally demonstrate playing poker. My job's not to play against you. My job is to play with you. We're trying to beat the system. So we're not going to have this conversation as a battle between you and I. We're going to have this conversation as a battle with you and I, trying to defeat whatever it is that you need, whatever problem you're trying to solve. And I'll demonstrate that by literally moving my body, turning to the side, and showing my cards. Now, we'll open up the conversation by discussing what would, let's give an example of. I need time to think about it. First thing I'm doing is conceding. I'm going to give you that time. Let's get it booked on the calendar, because first most important thing, I want to make sure I have a specific time, date, and topic when we're going to talk again. Now, once I've got you on the calendar for that follow-up and I've pressure tested to make sure you're going to be there when we do that follow-up, you already feel good because I let you off the hook. You're going to have that appointment. But you're not off the hook. So now that the appointment's scheduled, I can say, now, before we jump off, just talk to me. Explain to me when you need to go think about it. What kind of stuff are you dealing with? Is there anything that I have an answer for you? Now we're open the conversation up. It's hard to do without having a specific product or whatever to coach through, but you get the point. So again, everybody handles objections a different way, depending on the training and experience that you have, the way that you were taught, the industry you're in, right? All of those things go into it. So you need to answer clearly for the company, whatever their process is. If you want the job, you need to be able to fall in line to their process or show that you're coachable. You need to show that you have a system and that you're aware of a system. If you're just throwing canned responses, it doesn't mean that you understand why you're throwing those canned responses. So actually have a process for overcoming those objections. Next, how do you manage your time? Well, same thing. We have a saying when we train sales teams, the number one killer of sales careers is time management, or rather the lack of time management. If the hiring manager believes that you have no idea how you're spending your time and you're just floating through your day, it's going to make it really hard for him to want to hire you. So, number one, explaining that you have clarity and awareness around goals, time frames, a time frame for your goals, your age, mathematically justifying why time is important to you and how in an 8 or 10 hour day, if you're not able to complete X number of calls, X number of follow-ups, X number of emails, that you tend to fall behind. And so you've created a system to where in the morning I do my morning routine. After that, I focus on touching base with my appointments for the day. After that, cold calls. After that, whatever that system is, that manager wants to know you have enough awareness and intelligence to actually be intentional with your time. So again, be empathetic. What are they looking for? Why are they asking the question? And then respond with a real time management plan. And if you don't have one, let me know. I coach on that sort of stuff all the time. So I hope this response was useful and helpful. I am Robert Posey. I'm the admin here. And I help salespeople get a job for a living. So hope this was helpful.